Okay, welcome then to this session as we take a look at searching Medline on the new EBSCOhost user interface. So obviously this session has been set up, arranged for yourselves as part of the SHERIF group. So welcome to the session. For the benefit of those who have not met me before, perhaps those who are listening online at a later time, I'm Richard Crook. I work as a senior customer training specialist. I typically support library services, librarians, staff, and also at times end users in the UK, Ireland, and the Nordics. I'm a chartered librarian, having previously worked in the NHS in England. So glad you could join the session this morning. So in terms of what we want to cover, there's quite a lot to cover in this session. We'll spend initial overview of 5 minutes introducing Medline, especially for the benefit of those who may be new to this, new to the database. And then we'll look at the new interface features that have been released over a period of time since late last year, and also spend more time on the live demonstration. So covering the elements of natural language searching, advanced search, the use of the PICO guided search app, the use of mesh headings, the sort of headings, filters, limiters, and tools to process records. And then we'll conclude with a look at what's coming soon to the interface as well. So this session is being set up in light of the fact that most, if not all of you, will now migrate to the new interface by mid-July. So some of you may have already done this, others you are waiting for these sessions to get to grips with what's happening, what's changed for the EBSCOhost interface. So in terms of the session objectives then I hope that by the end of the session, so within the hour, you'll be able to recognize and locate the new features of the EBSCOhost interface, and also compare that with EBSCOhost Classic. Understand how to execute natural language and advanced searches, including the use of mesh terms, filters, and limiters. Use the PICO or PICOT guided search app to create a search. So that's where you can use an app to create a clinical framework strategy and run within Medline, and be able to access and use various tools within the EBSCOhost interface to manage research as well. So that's what you expect for this session. For some, I know it may be a refresher. You may have attended one of these sessions late last year when I was running them initially. We had a bit of a break. We've reintroduced them based on the fact there's new functionality, new features are available, and there's more coming before the switch in July. So Medline, authoritative bibliographic database containing citations and abstracts for biomedical and health journals, used of course by healthcare professionals, nurses, clinicians, and researchers. So obviously it provides access to a broad range of medical research, including general health, medicine, pharmacology, neurology, molecular biology, and so on. And importantly, of course, it's indexed with the mesh terms, the medical sort of headings provided by the National Library of Medicine. So terms are arranged in a hierarchy that permits searching at various levels of detail. So essentially, articles are assigned. Items indexed in Medline are automatically assigned with various subheadings from that index to identify the content coverage of that item. And this is updated annually. So we are now on Mesh 2026 at the moment. In terms of coverage, some of you may not have Medline Ultimate, which is what I'm going to focus on in the demonstration. But regardless whether you do or not, obviously there are differences in content. So more active full-text journals and magazines within Medline Ultimate, likewise those that are with no embargo. But the principles that we're looking at today, the principles of searching, finding information, finding references within Medline will be the same whichever version you subscribe to. So you've got Medline full text or Medline complete, or you've upgraded to Medline Ultimate. The principles that we look at will be the same across the board. But again, for the live demonstration, I will focus on Medline Ultimate. And also to clarify then, in terms of content for the UK and Ireland, obviously there's going to be a lot more active full-text journals related to that country, the countries and region. So United Kingdom and Ireland, as you see highlighted there, with the 3 columns for the 3 different versions of Medline. So just some background information there. In terms of the practicality of using Medline, there are additional features that you can use also to support finding the evidence to searching Medline. And we have the EBM reviews filter, which is available on the advanced search landing page. And that basically allows you to limit your search results, or limit your search when you're running it, to the following 6 titles. So the Cochrane Database of Systematic Reviews, ACP Journal Club, Clinical Evidence, Evidence-Based Mental Health, Nursing, Evidence Reports, and Technology Assessments. So each of these publications, each of these sources, apply very strict criteria to the inclusion of content. So again, when you limit according to these 6 titles, you're guaranteed to find high quality evidence in relation to that topic. And it may be just you use this as a scoping exercise to find what's out there initially, what's been done before you proceed to a more comprehensive search, as it were. We also have the clinical queries filter, so you can narrow your search using specific search strategies designed to narrow your results in 9 research areas for MEDLINE. So therapy, diagnosis, prognosis, reviews, and so on. So these have been developed in consultation with the Health Information Research Unit at McMaster University in Canada. If you've been around long enough in library land, as it were, for more than 30 years, you'll probably be aware that they were very instrumental in promoting evidence-based medicine in the mid-90s. So there are 3 strategies are provided for each of these 9 areas. So essentially high sensitivity, high specificity, and the best balance. So high sensitivity, as shown, as you can see on the screenshot there, would be the broadest search. That would include all relevant material, but it may include less relevant content as well. High specificity, on the one hand, is more targeted. It includes only the most relevant results set, but may miss some relevant materials. And if you'd like to achieve the best balance between sensitivity and specificity, then obviously best balance is the one to go for. So you select from the drop down the appropriate strategy for each of the areas that you're going to filter by, as it were. There's also the equivalent of this in CINAHL, by the way. So this is not just only available within MEDLINE. There is an also equivalent for CINAHL too. So that's just a brief introduction of a couple of features there, as well as the overview of MEDLINE. So I just want to now focus on the new features and interface enhancements. So I'll take this almost chronologically, beginning late last October when the search history was implemented for the new interface. That meant you have the 3 search boxes at the top of the screen will be maintained throughout your search. The search history would be displayed below, and this is where you would combine your searches. And also the results themselves will contain additional metadata, including the volume number, issue number, page numbers, and so on. So this feature, by the way, does require enabling in EBSCO Experience Manager, by the way. So again, this feature is there. You need to switch on, as it were, to enable this to appear on the advanced search results list page, which we're referring to this as. So you may have the advanced search as your default page, and then if you want the search history to display, there's another element that you need to enable within EBSCO Experience Manager. So you can see on this interface, we have improved button designs. The set numbers are displayed. So initially in reverse chronological order, but they can be resorted in sequence. So it displays all the searches. You have the applied parameters, such as the proximity search mode, and also the expander that may be applied, shown in the appropriate column. There are hit counts there. The database is also identifiable through the icon. And then there's the action menu on the far right, which is the tools menu, where you can edit a search string. You can also delete it or add it to a project. A project is a custom folder that you can create yourself. And it's synchronized with the My Dashboard features, including recent activities. So it's tracking usage, both in terms of displaying the search history and also within recent activity as well. So again, as I mentioned, this is configured in EBSCO Experience Manager. So if you do not currently see it, maybe you've started to use it, maybe you already migrated to it, then there are these 2 areas you need to enable. So you select the custom button within the default search landing page, switch to advanced if it's on standard, which is the basic search screen, and then a few places down on the same page within EBSCO Experience Manager, you have advanced search results page, select custom, and then choose advanced. So it's advanced for both elements for the search history to appear on the advanced search result list page. Okay, so just some idea, it's just some step-by-step instructions there for doing that. Now, other features that have been launched include the enhanced date filter, which means that now you can search or refine your search by month and year as well as year. In the past, it was just day, month, and year. Now it's month and year, or simply year. There's further functionality coming out as well very soon, which will allow you to search or filter with open-ended dates, whether from date or end date. That's also coming. Further enhancements, including the bulk action improvements. So at the moment, you can multi-select up to 50 items at once and take the following bulk actions on projects saved from recent activity pages. So you can see download, saving, unsaving is possible within the records tab. You can add to a project that is a custom folder. You can export, and also within the projects folder, you can actually delete as well now. And with the searches tab, within recent activity, you can save and unsave items and add to a project as well. So some of these may become more obvious once you see the live demonstration. Also in March, we released further email improvements for sharing documentation, which means that you can now choose formats. So we have the choice of 3 formats: brief, which gives you the basic citation. You can include the abstract, that's an option. Detailed will give you more information. In other words, users yourselves can pick and choose the metadata fields that you want to include, and then the citation style is where you default to your preferred citation format, which could be Harvard, Chicago, Vancouver, or you can switch between them. So for example, if using the same feature within APA PsycInfo, then you could switch to APA 7th edition as the citation format. So again, this is also configured in EBSCO Experience Manager. So by default, it's brief citation, but you can switch to detailed citation or the citation style if preferred. So you see some screenshots of how that looks like in these areas and these ways. So the features I'm going through right now are actually live within the interface. So they will need some enabling in some cases. Other things I'll show you are coming very soon, but these are actually live now. So some of you may be familiar with suggest subject terms. Maybe you've used this in the past when you're identifying the appropriate mesh term, the subject term when you enter your keyword search. So unlike Classic, it's now placed below the search boxes. And also what happens when you select suggest subject terms, the blue button, which is formerly search, changes to suggest terms. So it's clearly laid out, informing the user what's happening. So if you enter the word overview, for example, select suggest subject terms, tick the box, the button changes to suggest terms, and then you'll be mapped to the corresponding heading within the mesh term, the corresponding mesh term from the National Library of Medicine. So it's available for the advanced search page and advanced results page. It's not available for the standard page or the basic page now, and it honors existing EBSCO settings for advanced search. So you can either show or hide suggest subject terms. Some may feel it's not appropriate for them, not needed, and you can default it to on or off. So if you want to mandate that users are directed straight to the mesh term, then you would switch to as a default on as opposed to off. I think in most cases, and I've certainly been working with the NHS for many years, then that would probably be showing but defaulted to off. But again, it's your decision whether you have it in that way. Okay, so again, there's some FAQs there for more information about how to use it and also how to enable it as well to follow up post session. So again, once you've done that, once you click suggest terms, it will map you to the MEDLINE Mesh 2026 headings, and then you can set the appropriate mesh term and add it to your search from there. Okay, and it places the search actually about in the top search box, prefix with MH as the exact subject heading from within MEDLINE. Okay, so you can then run the search and retrieve records indexed with that term. So again, we'll see that working as we go through this. Okay, and eventually you're brought to the advanced results page with the search string displayed. Okay, so in addition to that, and this is particularly true for those who are cross-searching, so if you're looking to search MEDLINE in, for example, CINAHL simultaneously, then there is the hit counts, which is important because the total results will be displayed at the top of the screen, and then at the end of that results set, you will see the unique results. In other words, the deduplicated hit count. So one other feature that we're going to, so I just want to refer to Cheryl's question, does the suggest subject terms box need to be turned on to show to? Yes. So essentially, the show hide options within EBSCO Experience Manager means it's either visible or not visible. So obviously, show means it will appear to your users, and then there's the default option for whether it's selected by default or not. So show hide means it displays on the screen. The other option, of course, is whether it's on or off. In other words, is it selected by default? Okay, that's fine. Okay. And it's still managed currently in EBSCO Admin, by the way. I mentioned EBSCO Experience Manager, EBSCO Admin. So EBSCO Admin still honors the settings there for suggest subject terms. That may change in the future because obviously EBSCO Experience Manager is the newer of the admin tools, and that will be the way forward. But it will be some time before EBSCO Admin is decommissioned. As you can imagine, that'll be a lot of work. So both admin portals are needed currently, okay, in different areas. So again, referring to areas where they will be changed, etc., or edit or implemented. So again, just this hit count basically means you can identify and get a deduplicated hit count for your result list. And we are introducing pagination to the results list page. That is coming very soon. So it'll be much easier to navigate to that end page to see those results as well. Further search history improvements took place in May. So sort of give you the history of it, but I think it's helpful to know where we are with the interface. And that included the expanded bulk action toolbar with the download option, the save option, add to project, and importantly, delete. So you can select multiple sets to delete, or you can delete the entire search history. So if you've run a search and you want to start again, you can clear the search history on this page. Okay. You can also view results without incurring a new set number. So column B there would allow you to click on a hyperlinked result count, so the number of results, and that will display those specific results within the result list page, but it would not generate another result set. So if you have, say, a 65 line search strategy and you select S50 to see those results, it would not then add S61 duplicating that set. It would not do that. Okay, and then column C is where you have the save ribbon, I call it the bookmark icon, which allows you to save individual result sets if you wish to. Okay, so again, you have the options to do that. And you can use the save ribbon within the bulk action as well to save the complete search history as well. But as we'll see, you can also download the search. Another feature that was introduced just before that, and I kind of in this context, was the ability to edit combined search query. Before April, you could only edit a single line. Now you can edit combined search queries. So for example, if you have S1 or S2, maybe the OR was a mistake, you wanted to say S1 and S2, you can edit that search to insert the appropriate operator, and that will, refresh the search as it were, and then the results will be adjusted accordingly throughout the search, and obviously the impact in the final result set. So again, there's more information on combining the searches and editing a combined search as well within EBSCO Connect. So again, some screenshots there. Okay, I'll probably not spend too much time on these, just go through as quickly. Auto metadata and abstracts on dashboard records tab were enhanced to include more information as well. And we also include a retraction indicator. So obviously with some literature, some articles, they are retracted for various reasons, but it might be helpful to know why that's the case. Again, some may have flagged this, but it'll be apparent on screen. And then also you had verified person links and cited by count also included. So again, some of these you can refer to in your own time post-session. We also now have numbered lists on dashboard pages. So some of this seems quite basic, but obviously they weren't there originally and they've been added. And some of this is based on feedback, responses, and also reviewing of the classic interface as well. So you have for the records and searches pages under projects, which is the custom folder again, you have numbered lists and also within the save folder and also recent activity as well. So quite a lot to take in there, but just a snapshot really of some of the things that have happened recently. There is more coming, but now we'll see as it looks right now live. So I'm going to switch to my demonstration. Again, keep the questions coming or comments if you have any, and we can always feedback to our product management team as needed or EBSCO colleagues more information. So we've got MEDLINE Ultimate here displayed. And one thing I didn't mention specifically within the PowerPoint was the use of the natural language search, which I'll come to in a moment. But just to highlight again the functionality here. So we've got the 3 rows here. So this should look quite familiar. One of the big differences, of course, with this new interface is the amount of white space that you see on the screen. And that is deliberate. It just reduces the cognitive load. It also supports the accessibility guidelines. You think of WCAG, you think of the European Accessibility Act and so on. And also supports screen reader navigation as well, and also for future enhancement to the interface as well. So again, I'm not a developer. I don't do any coding or writing scripts and things like this, but there are those obviously qualified to do that at EBSCO, and obviously they design the pages with input from ourselves and others, librarians, and obviously they have to have a certain standard now, of course, with accessibility in view. So again, there's the reason why it looks like it does. And you have the 3 rows. You can add more rows here as well. If you're on the Synopsis session, you probably have seen this also. You can add up to 12 rows if you prefer to enter terms line by line. We have the drop-down fields here. Notice, because we're looking at MEDLINE specifically, we're on MEDLINE Ultimate, then these are ones which are specific to MEDLINE. Also, title object has been released for other databases, including CINEL, of course. So you can now search the title object simultaneously. And there are others here. So for example, you've got the MH and these are the mesh terms, different aspects, etc. as well. So again, some of these will be unique to MEDLINE, some are more generic. We have, again, the suggest edit terms feature here. You can see the little I button there. It just prompts the user to see this information to know that what they're doing is searching the subject terms authority file with the keywords, and it will suggest subject terms that can be added to your search. Okay, so it just prompts the user to know what this is about if they're not already aware of that. Then there are filters below, as you can see. EBM reviews I mentioned is here. Okay, so if you're entering terms above, you can immediately filter by EBM reviews. Others are there. We've got one specifically on systematic reviews. Publication dates. Again, the date range I mentioned, you can now enter month and year, or just year to year, and soon it'll be open-ended as well, will be possible. And then other elements here, including clinical queries, which I mentioned earlier, with the different strategies and the research areas, and then the different strategies. We do have pages on this which details the actual strategies behind each of the clinical queries. So you may wonder what happens when I click, for example, therapy, what's it actually doing? But we do have the detailed search strategy behind each of those that are provided by McMaster University. So that's the initial page there. I'm not going to select any more of those. In fact, I'm going to go to all dates here. And then on the left, we have the various elements. So this will be changing. I'll mention this as we go through the session, but projects is the custom folder. Saved is the default folder for searches and saved items. Recent activity is tracking what you're doing, so it kind of mirrors the search history to some degree. Alerts where you have publication or search alerts set up. And then you have the research tools, new search to go back to the original landing page. Help is the default help, which is the quick start guide for EBSCOhost for the platform in general. So although we're looking at MEDLINE, there's a lot of features that are generic to the EBSCOhost interface, and you can find more information here, including searching and browsing, using the dashboards, using the tools, and so on. So again, and for those who are curious, we do also have the archive database help files. So if you recall with EBSCOhost Classic, you have a help link which takes you to the specific help file for that database. What we've done now is we're directing users to EBSCO Connect, the main portal, for ease of updating, and also a lot of the information is common to all databases. But if you want a specific help file detailing, for example, what constitutes a unqualified search within a database like MEDLINE Ultimate, you can click through and open up the PDF essentially for that help file, and it will detail an unqualified search, also details about the field codes and other information about that specific database. And of course, you can link to different versions here as well. So that's from the help file. Publication authority, this will just be a link that takes you back to the publications tab, allowing you to search for key publications within MEDLINE, in this case Ultimate, either by alphabetically by word or subject and description. You can browse the alphabet menu if you wish, or the list to find your appropriate journals. And then we have the final link down to research tools, which is the MEDLINE Mesh 2026 tab, allows you to press browse the source. Okay, so what I want to do though is just briefly show you natural language search. So it can be accessed through, search options is also here, by the way. So this shows us the default search modes, and we do have more information in EBSCO Connect on each of those, more detailed information, and these can be edited as well, relabeled in EBSCO Experience Manager or removed. They can be shown as, it can be hidden if you don't want to see those elements shown to your user. Again, it's EBSCO Experience Manager, but the actual strategy behind this, so for example, proximity by default is using the near operator near 5 words or less. So for example, if you were into influenza vaccine, it would be influenza near 5 words or less of vaccine, or vaccine near 5 words or less of influenza. Now in some institutions, they've changed this to W0, which means the words are searchable in the order you enter them next to each other, right? So this can be changed. That editing or that configuration of proximity search mode is done in EBSCO Admin. The labeling and whether it's seen or not is done in EBSCO Experience Manager. Okay, so again, just some tips there. And then with the expanders, again, there's a link there to find more information about those. So again, this is on by default, but this would only be applicable for an unqualified search. So if we don't use a field code from the search boxes, then those will be applicable. And then just as I said, I want to mention the natural language search. You can have natural language search here under search modes, but I'd probably use it from the basic search screen or standard search, a bit more visible there, and you have the option there, natural language. So what I'm going to do here is simply enter or use everyday language, enter a question, and it will generate a response based on a large language model being prompted with that information. So for example, if I use the example here of, let me just enter the box there, how to improve dialysis or how to improve compliance. Let's put how to improve compliance with home dialysis, right? So just in the form of a statement or a question with natural language search selected. So I have to select that as well. And then normally I select that first, enter the question, and then run the search. So what it's been doing is the model's been prompted to create a Boolean query based on the key terms that I've used for my question. And you'll see, first of all, how does it work? It just tells us the user what natural language search is. Okay, some examples of some questions you can ask. And then the refined query is also given. So it shows us the Boolean logic for this particular question. So I put improve, but it's considered enhance or increase or optimize. I put compliance, but it's also realized adherence, concordance, also synonyms. I put home dialysis, and it's also came up with some other alternatives as well. So it's generated a Boolean query. It's run the results below, and in those results, you'll see in the title the words highlighted in yellow relate to those terms, and in bold, you'll see other terms that relate to our search query, okay, to the question. Now, what it's also done is generated 3 other queries that may be of interest to you. So these are recommended search queries. So what strategies can enhance adherence to home dialysis treatment? So it's giving you strategies, if you like, or how can patients and caregivers improve compliance, etc. Or what are the effective methods to ensure successful home dialysis management? So you can just click on any one of these queries and it will form a similar search and bring back results based on the terms in that question. So not only does it provide you with the Boolean search, the queries, so the synonyms, so it's keyword searching, but it also will suggest other questions and then create related Boolean queries here. And you can see this one here. Again, it's added, for example, effective methods, best practice, and so on. So it's been well received within the NHS by clinicians, librarians as well. So again, it's there. It's helps users focus their search. It's very intuitive, and obviously there's an explicit reference to what terms are being used in this session. And of course, it's focused on results within MEDLINE. It's not going out to the open web, provide other information. This is being used within MEDLINE. Okay, so again, bear that in mind. It's kind of a walled garden. Yes, the query is generated based on terms that's familiar with, but these terms are then run within MEDLINE. So we've got 227 references. Again, the keywords are highlighted there. So we've got our results below, and just to highlight then some of the features here before we go any further. So we've got up to 50 results shown per page, okay, currently there. Ordered by relevance, so you've got relevance, newest or oldest is the default sort. And then below that, you can see each record. You can see they're all numbered here. They can be selected. And to view the content, you would click on the Show More link to view the abstract. There is a setting to display that in its entirety, again, in EBSCO Experience Manager. So if you feel it's better to see the abstract in its entirety for each record, that can be configured behind the scenes, okay? Obviously, if you have national or local subscriptions, or say regional subscriptions, you may be at the mercy, if you like, of the administrator for the region, as it were, or you may be that person. So you may have the final say in how that's displayed or with consultation with colleagues. But again, you can still toggle between the initial 2 lines being shown or the whole abstract, and likewise with the sort of headings too, you'll see there may be more headings. And of course, you can just jump into the actual record itself. And perhaps before I do that, you can also refine as well. So for example, you can see these initial filters at the top of the screen. And so if you're looking for a full text article, then you can click full text here. Maybe it's a quick search. You just want to see what's out there, you see what's been written. Maybe clinicians looking at this and thinking, okay, I'd rather look at some recent full text content here before I go any further with this topic. All dates as well. So, for example, past 12 months, 5 years, or 10 years. If I go for the last 5 years here, you'll see that refined further. So we had 227, we then had 17, now we've got 18 references published since 2021. Okay, so more recent references here. And then source type, again, we've only got academic journals. There are other filters too. All filters will open up on the right, and you can see English language is there. EBM reviews is also there, by the way, and other filters including age group and also gender. Okay, so age group and gender are used in the mesh indexing to retrieve records about those age groups. So we've got 18 references here. These are full text, and you can see this article here. The one below it is more recent, published in January, February this year from Nephrology Nursing Journal. And so you can see the information there. You can click through, you can see you got access to PDF in this case. More like this is a recommendations feature based on the data that EBSCO has, the scholarly graph as we call it, and that will provide you with up to 5 references which could be of interest and would be recommended. So, we used to recommendations, for example, like in Amazon and other platforms, based on our personal interests and so on. So it's based on the results that you found here. Again, there's information about this recommendation. Okay, so EBSCO explorated research with our unique metadata based on the items you've engaged with. Okay, and you can comment if this is helpful or not. And you can view the PDF. You can also save this article, use the save ribbon, go to the next one, and likewise, if you feel this is useful, you can save that and so on. So these are just recommendations, more like this. So you got the PDF there as well. If I click on the PDF link here, this will open up the full text document. So as you'd expect, it's the native full text in color, as you can see there. Again, you can save the full text directly. We also have other tools here, the cite tool, which allows you to copy the citation in the preferred format. I've got Harvard as the default format. So for most of you, this may be Harvard, or it could be AMA, it could be Chicago, could be Vancouver, for example. So you can choose there as well. So again, the cite tool here. So I can copy that to the clipboard according to that reference style. We also have the export citation. So if you want to do a direct export of this article into RIS format, you can, or RefWorks or EndNote as well. The Add to Project feature will allow you to add this to a custom project. Now, so in Classic, we had the My folder, the default save folder, and we also have custom folders. So you could create your own custom folder, store searches, store articles, differentiate, if there's certain work you're doing on or for certain departments, you can create a custom folder in relation to the work you're doing for them. In the same way, custom folders project folders are custom folders. So to use them, you do need to sign into a personal user account, my EBSCO account. So at this stage, if you want to save this to a project folder, I would need to sign in. I'll come back to that a bit later. We will look at that. There is the share icon as well. So you can share in Google Drive, via Google Drive, OneDrive, or create a link to this document, so this article, and copy that to the clipboard. So you can post it in a Teams message or email, etc. Then you have the email option itself. You enter your email address, and this is where I refer to the email options now: brief, detailed, or citation style. Brief by default, you can still include the abstract, but it gives you the basic citation. If you go for detailed, then not only can you include the abstract, but also the DOI, keywords, subjects, etc., and more, including, for example, language, PubMed ID, links, and then you can send in that format. Okay. The final format, of course, is the actual reference style. So again, Harvard or similar. Again, you can include the abstract if you need to. So that's the cite tool. You can download the article as well. Those PDF is available. Or if you are interested in the metadata at this stage, you can download in PDF format, Word, CSV, BibTeX, and so on. We still offer the print option for those who want to look at hard copy, maybe to highlight it, as it were, go through that article, read it on a train journey, and so on. So again, you see that, and that would just be the actual article released. And then you have publication content. So you can jump to other articles in the same publication. Maybe it's a theme publication. So there could be articles of interest to the user. And then we support text-to-speech software. So this has also been launched with a new interface. You can now listen to the PDF being read to you online, or you can download the MP3. Historically, it's always been in Classic, HTML full text only that had the text-to-speech software. It's now applicable to PDF. And then finally, in terms of these icons, there's the accessibility support. So again, supporting users with different requirements, as it were. Then we have this content remediation. So what that means is if PDF is not suitable for the user, they can request Word format instead. And there's a 3 to 5 business day time frame to receive that formatted article. So again, you can choose an alternative format to the article, especially for in support of accessibility for users. So just to recap then of some of the key features there, I'm just conscious of the time, so I'll need to move forward. Time is moving on very quickly. So what I might do at this stage is jump from this now to a more standard search and look at some of the other elements. So what we'll do now, we'll click New Search. Okay, and I'll just combine a couple of terms here and just go through this, again, highlight some other features, functionality. So we'll look at product migraine. So as you see, I'm typing, there's autocomplete feature, which is suggesting keywords based on user behavior. Notice that in these chains, in these strings, that it's using the lowercase or. Generally speaking, we advise using uppercase Boolean operators. Okay, it does have an impact. It's not mandatory, although it can be set to be mandatory within EBSCO admin. But generally speaking, we would, add, for example, I just put in headaches here. For example, headaches. Okay, or go add headaches in double quotation marks as well. So I just do that for now. Okay, for the first string, and now I'll combine that with acupuncture. Okay, I'll truncate that to acupuncturist, or I could put in alternative, I don't know, just acupuncture for now, just for sake of time. I'm not using any drop-down menus. I'm just going to stick to the unqualified search here in MEDLINE. But of course, I can apply various filters here. For example, I want English only, essentially, peer-reviewed content, and then I'll choose the date range. The date range for me may be from 2021. Let's go 2022, actually. Let's go for 2022. So I'm going to just write this. But so I'm going to do the last 4 years and not the last 5 years. So to do that, then I'll put in 2026. Okay. And then I'll run the search based on those and we'll see what we get. I haven't tried this search recently, so we'll see how we get on. So published in the last 4 years, got 97 references. Okay. And importantly, what you'll see here above the search results, the search history is collapsed currently, but if you click on that arrow, it will open up the search history. Now, what it's also showing us is been tracking everything I've been doing up to this point. So obviously, it's not ideal because I want to focus on a certain result set. So what I can do here, I can select these sets, untick S6, and I'll delete all the others. As I said, there's a bulk action now to delete. I get confirmation on screen if I want to do that. So yes, I do. I click delete, and now I can focus on that result set here. Now with this result set, what I've also done is included the filters as well. So they're recorded in the search options. I've got my results here. I'm looking at MEDLINE, of course. I can save this result set, and that'll be saved to the save folder under my dashboard, and you'll see that under searches, it's now stored here. Okay. So again, I might have to skip some of the details because I know we need to cover some other elements, but just wanted to highlight that. And you can see the publication date defaults from January 2022 to the end of 2026, although we're only in June, as it were. You can also see the results set hit count. So this is now a hyperlink. So obviously I'm only looking at one set, and that's displayed below. But if I do factor another element into this search, then obviously what I would do. So if I apply further filters here and go for, let's go for, actually see if there's any systematic reviews. Actually, we could go for EBM reviews, actually, let's see what we can find here. There may be a handful. No, there aren't any. So let's come up with 0. So, okay, so what I'll do is just delete this result set. Okay, I can delete from here, delete that one. Okay, So I could try another filter here. There's only 97 references, so it's not that many. And I can just disable this reference, this option there. We already had English applied. So I'm just going to take that one and just see, clear all. Let's start again here. Let's go back. Right, let's start this again. Yeah, so still, these are sticking currently at the moment. So I'll leave it on that. I'll leave that off for now because we will come back to another search in a moment. But this is the result set that we were looking at originally, and they're displayed below. And if you want to save those results, again, you've got the option to save using the Save ribbon next to each record. Each record also has the Tools menu for citing, adding to project, sharing, or downloading if you wish. But what we can also do is select these sets, and then we can save up to 150. Now, coming soon is the ability, so in July, the ability to save up to 500 at a time, as opposed to 50. So that's changing drastically. It will require you to be signed into my EBSCO account, and that's down to the needs to, due to data harvesting issues and things like that. So you will need to be signed into your account, which I'll do now actually, because I need to do some project. So I've got my EBSCO here on the right. I click sign into my EBSCO, enter my details. If I don't have an account, I can create one here, put in the details, last name is optional, create the password, note the criteria, agree to the consent form, and then create the account. And of course, we do support Google sign in as well. Then if I've done that, I can enter my credentials and sign in to my EBSCO folder, which means anything I save now will be saved beyond the session, not just during the duration of the session, in the same way it would with Classic. Okay. So I've got now, let's just duplicate this for some reason. So I'm just going to remove this one. Okay. So I've saved those records, and then also you can download them as well. You've got the download feature here, which allows you to download the metadata for these records in a choice of formats: PDF, Word, CSV, BibTeX, and so on. I won't show you all that, but you've got the idea there. And then add to project. So add to project means if I go in now, because I'm signed in, it will prompt me to add to an existing project or create a new one. So I have these existing projects here. So if I go to create a new one, then I would just add, this will be chronic migraine, which I've done before, as you can see there. So I'll put 0626. Okay. I can set a due date if it's something which I'm working on and need to complete by, say, the 1st of July, which is only Wednesday, and a description. So free text here, any content you want to add there. Once I create that, I get confirmation that the project's been created and content's been added. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, go to my projects on the left-hand column, and you'll see the project here. And then if I open this up, you'll see the records stored here. So maybe you want to bypass the save folder completely and just save records and also searches into a project. So I've got these records now, and you have the bulk action toolbar to download, unsave. So if you select, you can unsave or save, add to project to another project. You can do a direct export here as well, by the way. Okay, so some of these icons are familiar, others will be adjusted in time as well. So the other thing you can do, if I go back to projects here, is if I go back to my results set, and then come here and just mention this as well. So I can go to my search history. So it's only one line here, but if it was more than that, even that would work. I could select and then click add to project, and I can add that project to the, or that search to this project and group them together here. So I'll go to projects. You'll see in this project, I have my records, which you saw earlier, and then the search itself is saved here as well. Okay. So again, some elements there to consider how to use it and so on. So what I might do is just go back to the search here and do another search briefly. So I'm going to do the Pico search. So what am I going to do at this stage? I'm just going to delete this one. So I'll select. And actually, before I do that, let me show about the export also. So the exporting is also from the menu where you select items, and you can export up to 25,000 records from the results set. I've only got 97, that's fine. And my email address, that of others if I need to. Choose the format, in this case, click send, and I can send a link to download the metadata from that results set. And that link is available for 7 days. Okay. This export manager feature, this export feature can be used for a total of 100,000 records in a 24-hour period. But in one sitting, you can only export up to 25,000. So it doesn't have to be anywhere near that. It could be 250, it could be 2,500, or it could be 20,000. But 25,000 is the upper limit for doing an export of records at one time, with 100,000 total in 24 hours. So that feature is there. And also you'll know if you're not signed into MyEBSCO, and especially if you don't have EBSCO single sign-on, you will be prompted to sign into MyEBSCO if you use this feature as well. Okay, I know there's a lot to cover, so what I might do now, just briefly show you the Pico app, and then we'll move on to the slide deck. Okay, so we've got the Pico app here. You can enter terms here, so I use one that I've used quite a number of times. So in fact, let me use this one. So I use one for depressive patients, and I'll truncate this because it can be used with truncation, as I found. Officially not, but it does work. So depress, I'll put in exercise. I can add also rehabilitation or physical activity. Let's go to physical activity. So again, I'm kind of taking liberties with this. Normally we just advise using simple keywords here, but you can use Boolean operators, as I found. And for antidepressants, SSRI, for example, I could add more. I'm not sure if there's an upper limit here. And then, yeah, I'll leave it as that. Okay, so with this app, only the first two are required. So population, probable patient, intervention. Comparison is recommended, but there may not be a comparative treatment. Outcome is optional, and time frame, like within 6 months. Type could be clinical trial, randomized controlled trial, but again, you may not want to add that initially. And then you add to the search. It creates a Boolean query based on those terms, and then you click search here and run that within MEDLINE specifically. So it's just a handy way, a shortcut if you like to run a Pico search. Also perhaps useful for user education to show users how you'd create that search, what it's doing, how it works, and how effective that is for more focused searches. And you can see the results there. And also to mention the cited by count. So this article 3, item 3 here, has been cited by 21 articles. And if you click that button, it will detail those on the right-hand column. Again, you can scroll through, view the list. You can check which ones are full text, which ones are in MEDLINE Ultimate in this case, and also save as you need to. And also you can sort by the most recent publication as well. So it gives you articles that are citing this particular reference. Right, so I know there's a lot to cover, and I haven't touched on everything, but I hope it's giving you a taste of the new interface. But what I'll do now is stop sharing, go back to my slide deck. Okay, so just to resume here, so coming soon, just to clarify then some other elements, you'll be wondering what else is coming out that hasn't already. The access options, so the access options is where you can choose the full text option, so HTML or PDF. That will be appearing within records within the projects folder, save folder, and viewed records within recent activity as well. Further bulk action improvements. So again, this is where personalized users who are logged into MyEBSCO will be able to multi-select up to 500 records at once from the result page. So unlike the 50 currently, it'll be 500. And the reason for the personalization, the reason why you have to sign into a MyEBSCO account is because EBSCO must protect licensed content from misuse and comply with agreements with publishers. So requiring users to sign in allows users to monitor unusual activity and prevent large-scale data harvesting. So again, they're coming soon. Also importantly, in July, search set. So you've seen essentially how to save the search history or add it to a project, but we're releasing the ability to save a search history as a search set next month, essentially. So obviously we're in July from tomorrow, but by mid-July, before mid-July, this will be available. So that means that you would then be able to save your complete search history in the order that you ran it, and then that will be saved into your personal folder. Okay, so there is a save search set option coming within the save folder. So search set is a save search history from one browser session. Okay, and this will apply to up to 200 lines, as it were. So you'll be able to save a complete set of up to 200 lines within the save search set, as it were. Okay, so list of search sets will be located under a new tab called Search Sets. In the My EBSCO saved area, you have the ability to sort by creation date and alphabetically. Names and descriptions can be edited and search sets can be deleted. And importantly, of course, they can be rerun. And that's the key thing. You can save the search set and then you go back to it and rerun it. Okay, so you can run the entire search history, keeping the search set order intact as well. So that's coming in July. So I've seen a preview of that. In addition, we are looking to improve the user experience in terms of the interface, so making it easier to locate post-search filters, interface language options, increase the capacity for more links, to share additional resources, streamline personal account features, tighten the results page design for better visibility, and also, as I mentioned earlier, introducing paginated search results. So again, there's some changes coming to the navigation. Today we saw the navigation panel on the left. That will be moved to the top of the screen. So the navigation items will be regrouped. So the new navigation menus are dynamic based on subscriptions. So obviously, it also depends on what you subscribe to. But essentially, the search tools, additional links will be placed at the top toolbar, and then you can open those out with the drop down to view the content. And then, of course, there's also the language selector, which will be enhanced to be more visible so that users can select the preferred language for the interface. The dashboard itself, we move to the My EBSCO area. So you see two views there if you're authenticated or if you're unauthenticated. So the areas like projects, saved, recent activity, alerts will all be within the My EBSCO area on the top right of the toolbar. And the design illustrator will be adjusted as well to help users reach results quicker, free up additional space. So again, some elements there. And the filter panel can be configured. So that will be moved to the left-hand column and can be open as default if needed. So again, there's a big change there with the filters that we saw on the right today shifting to the left, and that's coming before the migration date. And the results pages will be paginated, of course, as I've mentioned, which means you can jump between pages, etc. So what is not changing? The advanced search results page functionality will remain the same or remain in place. You still have the guided style search boxes, those three rows, the search history, which expanded or collapsed, and then the sticky toolbar there. The dashboard option functionality are not changing, just where they're placed, and any configurations made to your interface, the custom limiters, links, placards, logos will remain the same. And then finally, if you want more information on what's happening, there is the product roadmap, so ebsco.com/roadmaps. So that's updated, and then you can go through to that and click the appropriate platform. And also, this page is quite crucial because it gives you the what's recently been released and what's coming soon, especially for those of you involved in more extensive comprehensive searching. So again, you may want to refer to that. So again, and then training support, just to remind everyone that in terms of the migration, there is the content of the custom folders within My EBSCO Classic will not be migrating. So if you have saved searches there, articles, etc., they will not be migrated. So the advice is generally to move that content to the default My folder for Classic EBSCOhost, and then that will then be migrated. However, alerts will not be migrated to the new interface, and the complete search history will not be migrated. What will be migrated is the final results set. So again, I've included some pages here. There is an option within the My EBSCO account within the projects folder in the new interface, which allows you to get a report, to download content that you may have stored previously in the custom folder, but that won't be migrated directly. Additional links are there, and of course we have our EBSCO Connect portal, which is the main portal, information portal for accessing EBSCO Academy, which is our training portal, e-learning portal with more training videos, etc. And also, if you sign in as an EBSCO Connect user, if you request an account, get an account, you sign into it, you can also log cases with EBSCO, support cases. You don't need to use the eurosupport@ebsco.com email address anymore. You can just log cases here, and they'll be identified by our support team. Also, your colleagues will see those. If you each have an account at EBSCO Connect, you can see the relevant support cases raised within your institution. They'll be linked together, although you have your own unique accounts there. And then we have our training resources portal, especially for those of you, of course, who are focused on using maybe in a School of Health Sciences, School of Nursing, whatever it might be, and have access to MEDLINE, CINAL, and so on. There's information here in terms of training videos, past recordings, upcoming training sessions, and also support information for using those resources that relate to healthcare. And I have some sessions on more advanced functionality coming up soon in light of the changes that are being implemented in the coming weeks as well. But are there any final questions or comments I know for some it's just a refresher, but also you've seen some changes that have been implemented and others are coming very soon. But are there any comments, questions, or feedback in relation to what you've just seen in terms of the interface for searching MEDLINE specifically? Otherwise, I'm happy to stop here. You can contact me directly post-session when needed as well. But we are obviously looking to update these sessions when new features are released. So again, the next session I run may have new features. So thank you, and watch this space. There's more coming, as you can see, and more of this will go live in due course. Okay, thank you.